Waynesburg had its annual mental health fair.
And the DeVito Lecture Series had a special speaker. Thank you for tuning in to Channel 14 News. I'm Sam Hixson.
And I'm Paul Zalakar. How important is taking care of yourself as a college student? WCTV's Drew Rhea has the answer in today's Health Minute.
If you follow the green balloons, you'll end up on the 3rd floor of Stover, where the peer leaders are hosting a mental health fair.
There are different stations throughout the room, so we have psychological trauma that talks about the way the brain changes after someone goes through like a traumatic experience. We have the art club here doing like different stress relievers with like coloring pages. There's information about anxiety and suicide prevention and all kinds of stuff.
The fair focused on how music and art can affect mental health, as well as the food that you eat.
So we actually just learned how much food affects your mental health and your physical body. So even though I'm eating ice cream and I think it's making me happy and healthy, it's doing the complete opposite and my brain's actually struggling for it. So that was really interesting to me because that's kind of what I eat for dinner every night.
So be sure to take care of your mental and physical health this semester. Reporting for WCTV, I'm Andrew Ray.
Free wings? Well, look no further because Waynesburg SAB is happy to oblige. Madison Strunk has the details.
What's better than a normal Friday night? A wing night Friday night.
Wings were fire. Best darn wings I've ever eaten.
But the wings aren't the only thing students come for.
It was so fun. It was a great opportunity. I was really excited. I heard about it over the summer. SAB contacted me, and so I talked to Andrea, and we were like, hey, let's do this. It'll be really fun, and it was.
Basically, one of my favorite songs I'll be singing is, it's called Us by James Bay. That's one of my favorite songs I'll be singing. There's Through All of It by Colton Dixon, How He Loves by Crowder, and Your Song by Elton John, and I think that's the current lineup for right now. I think that's going to be it, 4 songs.
SAB invites student musicians to perform during wing night, including the well-loved Heidi Dziak. Students get a chance to eat wings, listen to music, and also get homework done. For WCTV, I'm Madison Strunk.
Freshmen all across campus recently received the chance to listen to a nationally recognized speaker. WCTV's Lindsay Stenger has the details.
Freshmen flooded Roberts Chapel on Wednesday, and all for the chance to be lectured. Waynesburg University welcomed Clifton Tolbert as a part of the DeVito Lecture Series.
Well, the DeVito Lecture Series is one of 2 lecture series that we have here at Waynesburg University where we bring in nationally known speakers from around the country to share their insights and wisdom with our students.
The freshmen were especially interested in Tolbert's lecture because he wrote the book that they're reading in their Intro to College class.
That we were reading his book in our Fiat Lux class, and I thought it was a great opportunity to meet the speaker. I actually had dinner with him earlier this evening, so I got to meet him personally.
He doesn't come to universities often, so Waynesburg is quite lucky to have him.
I have wonderful opportunities throughout the year. Probably 10 to 20 times a year I have the opportunity to speak at colleges and universities, and I enjoy being where the future lives, so it's a good thing.
Afterwards, students were given the opportunity to meet with him, get his autograph, and take pictures with him. In the words of Clifton Tolbert, I'm Lindsay Stenger, wishing you a great night and a great life.
For all you Christmas fanatics out there, get ready, because the holiday season is here on campus. WCTV's Madison Strunk has more.
The snow is falling. The Christmas music is playing. And it's everybody's favorite, the Christmas Biscuit Brew.
It's like, as soon as it hits 4, it's like the Hunger Games. Everyone just runs for it. You really have to like fight for yourself and grab your favorite piece.
And just like that, they're all gone. So grab your paints and your coffee and get creative.
Shame that my hands are so dry.
For the coffee because I'm a poor college student and it's free.
Some students go into a lot of detail, while others, not so much.
This is my favorite color and I don't like to take the time to multicolor.
Biscuit Brew allows students to be artistic while also getting a chance to hang out with friends.
So much fun and I love it and it's the best time of the year.
For WCTV, I'm Madison Strunk.
The holiday season is also running rampant in the community, and this year it comes with a little bit of a challenge. Lindsay Stenger has more.
If you've been shopping anywhere in the town of Waynesburg, you may have noticed these posters popping up. It's the Holiday Challenge. And what is that exactly?
Back shoppers remind shoppers of the importance of buying local, you know, what it does to the community, dollars that are spent locally stay locally. So we really just try to promote the benefits of buying local and how it improves and sustains our downtown and county.
Waynesburg's downtown is much like any other small town downtown. Little, cute, and full of potential. Locally owned businesses are a huge part of Waynesburg's economy. With businesses such as Mickey's Men's Stores, Kids Candies, and McCracken Pharmacy, the town of Waynesburg has been able to withstand many years of economic hardships.
We really try to pride ourselves in knowing our patients or customers, whatever. And generally 9 times out of 10, if it's somebody that is coming back, we'll know them. And we take the time to know them. And all of us being from this area, a lot of times it's easy because you know people before they ever, you know, really start here as customers.
Another Waynesburg business that's participating in the Holiday Challenge is McCracken's Pharmacy, where you can get everything from lip balm to vapor rub. And getting involved is pretty easy.
They need to turn in the cards, people who, you can pick up the cards at the merchants, and you need to turn them into Gifts and Thrifts, which is uptown, by 7:30 Friday, December 6th.
Currently, we are about halfway through this promotion, and so far the owners have noticed a difference.
We've definitely had a marked increase in people coming in. A lot of it is due to the holiday challenge.
So if you haven't already, stop by a local store, pick up one of these, and consider shopping locally this holiday season. For WCTV, I'm Lindsay Stinger.
That'll wrap it up for campus news. When we come back, we'll have news from around the nation right here on Channel 14 News.
We're gonna fade up to camera 3 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take it.
I'm Lachlan Louden out here in front of Thayer Hall on the hill by Everly Library at Waynesburg University. As you can see behind me for your weather, it's not too cold right now, but it is a little bit chilly. I got my scarf on supporting the Steelers. It is gray, cloudy skies, very overcast, but there will be no rain. However, later in the week, you can expect some rain. Stay tuned for more at the end of the newscast where I'll go into my full weather report here for WCTV.
Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is back on the bench after missing oral arguments last week. At 86, Ginsburg is the oldest justice on the Supreme Court. The 4-time cancer survivor has had several medical issues. Last Wednesday, Chief Justice John Roberts announced she could not make it to court because she was sick with a stomach bug. So far this term, Ginsburg has been an active participant from the bench. She often asks the first questions as the justices hear critical cases about immigration, abortion, and the Second Amendment. The court meets again for a closed-door conference on Friday, but doesn't take the bench again until December 2nd. The first officers at the scene of the deadly school shooting in California are giving grim details of what it was like, as the reality that 2 innocent children are dead is setting in for the people of Santa Clarita today. Britt Conway has the latest.
It's a tough day here in Santa Clarita.
Officials identifying 14-year-old Dominic Blackwell and 15-year-old Grace Muehlberger as the 2 students killed in the shooting at Saugus High School.
She was such like a pure person, and she was always complimenting me and always making me laugh, and was so capable to make others smile.
The officers first to find the wounded students are reliving those moments.
We started assessing their wounds and trying to pack the wounds and stabilize them.
So why did 16-year-old Nathaniel Burhow bring a gun to school and open fire on his classmates before turning the gun on himself? Investigators may never know. Burhow passed away from his self-sustained injuries Friday night.
As far as we know, that the actual targets were at random.
We did not find any manifesto, any diary that spelled it out, any suicide note.
Despite the panic and chaos that erupted when shots rang out, police praised students for taking immediate action.
Kids that barricaded themselves, they sheltered in place.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
The people of California are preparing for another round of blackouts. Pacific Gas and Electric announced 264,000 customers in 22 North California counties may be impacted beginning Wednesday. They blame dry conditions and high winds, saying that there is an increased fire risk. PG&E says it plans to inspect the de-energized lines once the winds die down on Thursday. They hope to restore power to most customers by Thursday evening. PG&E serves about 5 million electric customers in California, and rolling outages have impacted several areas so far this fire season. In October, PG&E cut off power to almost 800,000 customers in Northern California to lower the risk of wildfires. PG&E Chief Executive Bill Johnson said last month that these planned outages could continue for a decade. Sources say staffers in Vice President Pence's office have made a concerted effort to distance Pence from Jennifer Williams, a Pence aide and career Foreign Service officer. That's even before she sat down to testify in a closed-door session in the House impeachment inquiry. But sources explained to CNN that Pence's office is selective about which career officials get detailed to their staff. His senior staff typically interviews them beforehand, and Pence's national security advisor Keith Kellogg selected Williams. CNN has reached out to Williams and her lawyer for comment, but has not received a response yet. Williams is currently serving as a special advisor to the vice president for Europe and Russia. She's set to testify publicly before the House Intelligence Committee today.
At least 2 people were hurt when a small plane crashed in Roy, Utah on Sunday. Officials say it went down shortly after takeoff from Ogden-Hinckley Airport. The plane struck a billboard before coming to rest near a freeway. The 2 men inside were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. The Federal Aviation Administration and National Transportation Safety Board are investigating the matter. A football game between 2 New Jersey high schools ended in gunfire on Friday night. The game was nearing the end of the third quarter when shots rang out. 3 people were wounded and now 5 people are in police custody. Mary Ellen Hopkins has the latest.
Gunshots erupted at a Friday night football game, sending the crowd into a frenzy as they tried to flee.
Oh yeah, that's gunshots. We just saw everybody from the crowd running. So that's when the whole football team, the coaches was telling us get down.
Shocked fans rushed from the stands. On the field, players and referees feared for their lives.
But we didn't want to get down. We wanted to get somewhere safe inside the school. So we all ran up here, ran through the fence, and then we went through here.
Mayhem unfolded on the sidelines as medics rushed to aid the victims. One adult and 2 minors were taken to the hospital. Prosecutors charged 31-year-old Alvin Wyatt with 3 counts of attempted murder. Police allege he targeted 27-year-old Ibn Abdullah and also struck 2 bystanders.
The adult male victim is also in custody at this time and charged with possession of a firearm that was found on his person during the initial response and investigation.
Investigators have 4 additional suspects in custody, all charged with unlawful possession of a firearm.
It's currently under investigation what their connection is with the actual incident that occurred here.
I'm Mary Ellen Hopkins reporting.
John Bel Edwards will be Louisiana's governor for 4 more years. The Democrat narrowly won Saturday's runoff election against Republican challenger Eddie Raspone. Edwards was forced into a runoff after falling short of the majority vote needed to clinch re-election last month. He claims victory in a deep red state President Donald Trump had won by 20 percentage points in 2016. Trump went to Louisiana 3 times to campaign for his opponent, including 2 rallies in the past 10 days. But the attempts at a last-minute boost was not enough to carry the Raspone campaign over the finish line. Edwards is only the only statewide elected Democrat in Louisiana. Remember the guy who increased the cost of drugs for AIDS patients by more than 5,000%? He was dubbed the most hated man in America. but it was securities frauds and conspiracy that landed Martin Shkreli in jail. Pharmabro was hoping to get his conviction overturned, but Monday he found out he'll have to finish that 7-year sentence. Prosecutors say the former pharmaceutical executive ran a Ponzi scheme and defrauded investors out of more than $10 million over the course of 5 years. Shkreli's attorney, Mark Baker, said the jury wasn't given the right instructions about securities fraud. The court didn't see it that way, though. Baker told CNN he was disappointed in the decision, but knew that it was a long shot. That's it for national news. Whenever we come back, Gwyn Napier will tell you about the price raises at Five Below. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Channel 14 News. I'm Gwyn Napier with your business and entertainment update. If you're driving to your Thanksgiving Day destination, you're not alone. According to AAA, nearly 50 million people will be hitting the roadways. That's a nearly 3% increase over last year. If you've chosen the more expensive option of flying, there are some tricks to save cash. David Daniel has more in today's Consumer Watch.
Hitting the road for Turkey Day. That's what many Americans will be doing this year. According to AAA, nearly 50 million Americans will be traveling by car. Meanwhile, more than 4 million others will fly. And whether you're driving or flying, AAA says this is the second highest Thanksgiving travel volume since the agency began tracking in 2000, and the busiest since the record was set in 2005. This year's top 3 destinations are Orlando, Anaheim, and New York City. If you're taking to the skies, AAA recommends you fly out the Monday before the Thanksgiving travel rush, saying average tickets are cheaper, or fly on the actual holiday. According to a report by Fair Compare, the most expensive days for Thanksgiving travel this year are Wednesday before the holiday and the Sunday after. Another tip, look for alternate or smaller airports outside a big city. You'll likely find cheaper tickets. Just beware of hidden fees. Another savings hack, bring your own snacks and entertainment. Food at airports and on the road is more expensive, so pack your own cheaper and healthier options. And a final tip, ditch the pricey hotels and look for alternatives. Go with a rental that has a kitchen. That way you can cook meals there instead of eating out. For Consumer Watch, I'm David Daniel.
A popular store that sells products for $5 or less is undergoing a colossal change. It will start selling things above $5 for the first time in 17 years. The company says it has tried to keep prices down, but can't sustain those prices for items like tech gadgets and toys. The items costing up to $10 will be in separate sections of the stores. They will have a toys and games section called 10 Below Gift Shop, an electronics section called 10 Below Tech. The company says most of the merchandise remain below $5, so the name is keeping. Jeopardy is bringing the brain power. The game's top 3 winners will quiz their way towards $1 million. Call it the Battle Royale of game shows as Ken Jennings, Brad Rutter, and James Holzar compete in the challenge. Here's how to work. The 3 champs will compete in a series of matches, and the first player to win 3 will receive a cool million and be crowned the greatest of all time. The other 2 contestants will walk away with $250,000 each. Each man boasts some pretty impressive stats already. Jennings won a record 74 games straight. Rutter hauled in the most money, and Holzer holds the title for the top single game winnings. Jeopardy host Alex Trebek says the competition should set the record straight on who is the best of the best. It'll air starting January 7th. Kanye West was in the building. Actually, he was at the Houston jail visiting inmates. You can see him shaking hands and hugging folks there, with the gospel choir in the background. The rap icon turned gospel musician even performed for them. West is scheduled to meet with Pastor Joel Osteen in his Lakewood Church congregation on Sunday. He'll be a big part of the morning service and perform later that night. This fall's biggest blockbuster keeps setting records. David Daniel has that and more in the Hollywood Minute.
I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do.
Joker has made box office history. It's the first R-rated movie ever to top $1 billion in worldwide ticket sales, and one of just a few movies with any rating to reach that level without playing in China.
The day after was my birthday. My boss saw me. She said, dude, you don't look like a kid anymore.
Here's a look at the new documentary After Parkland. Directors Emily Taguchi and Jake Lefferman filmed for months in Parkland, Florida, after last year's devastating shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, talking with survivors and those who lost friends and loved ones as they made their way through the aftermath and worked to end gun violence in the U.S.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine?
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with Tom Hanks as Fred Rogers opens Friday, and that's prompting new calls to follow his commandment of kindness. The nonprofit Child 360, whose staff don Mr. Rogers' signature red cardigans, is hosting Good Neighbor Week, with school events aimed at strengthening Rogers' lessons of kindness, acceptance, helpfulness, gratitude, and trust. Beautiful indeed. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That'll do it for business and entertainment. Zac Schnegg will give you a Waynesburg sports update whenever we get back.
Have you ever been to the Everly Library? If not, you should, because it's great. They have books of all different genres: history, biography, fiction. Try The Evolution of Life, Life of Pi, or Jurassic Park. So what if books aren't your thing? Try movies, like Frozen, or TV shows, like Lost. Books and DVDs aren't the only thing, though. Take a trip to the second floor. Welcome to the Writing Center. These tutors will tell you everything you need to know about writing a paper, and they'll help revise your essays. Now let's head back down. Behold, the Knox Learning Center. Need to print something out 5 minutes before your next class because you procrastinated? No problem. You can also print off pictures of dogs. Because, well, you can. So grab your homework, laptop, and textbook, and study diligently. Bring your lunch too. Actually, you can't. That's illegal. Now you know the Everly Library. Stop by anytime. Seriously, it's open all week.
Welcome back to Channel 14 News. I'm Zac Schnegg with your sports report. The Waynesburg football team made the 23-mile trek up I-79 to take on the rival Washington and Jefferson Presidents on Saturday. The 1-8 Jackets looking to end the 2019 season on a positive note after a close game with nationally ranked Case Western Reserve last week. First play of the game, Mike Ryhall's kick goes back to Joey Caroli, brother of former Waynesburg basketball player Christian Caroli. He dances around the 20 and then gets some blockers here on the near side. 85 yards to start the game. Yes, 85 yards to put W&J up 7-0 very early in the first quarter. President's first offensive drive, halfback draw up the middle to Jordan West. He makes a couple moves and he's gone down the far sideline. 45 yards. Safety Luke Mangus is able to shove him out right in front of the goal line, and then the very next play, West is able to polish it off out of the Wildcat, punches it in for 1 yard out. And W&J takes a 14-0 lead with 9 minutes left to play in the first. Sticking with the first quarter, Jacob Adams finding Josh Burns right in front of the goal line. He's able to step in from the defensive backfield for an 8-yard passing score. 21-0, W&J leads after one complete. Early in the second, E.J. Thompson takes the outside tackle run down the far sideline. He's gone. Presidents lead 28-0 with 11 minutes left to play in the second. And then the next drive, quarterback Jacob Adams takes the keeper off The read option, he's past the defensive backfield. W&J leads 35-0 with 6 minutes left to play in the second. Now finally, some Waynesburg highlights for you. In the fourth quarter, backup quarterback Caden Roberts steps in after some injuries, finds Nick Moretti the back corner of the end zone for his final game. Jackets finally get on the board. It's 44-8 Presidents. Then with 1 minute left to play in the game, senior Chad Walker punches it in from 3 yards out. His first score of the season. The Jackets trail 50-14, and that would be the final. Jackets finished 2019 at 1-9. Sam Hixson was at Cameron Stadium.
It's been a very challenging season for Waynesburg on both sides of the football. That being said, they traveled down Interstate 79 to take on their rival, the Washington and Jefferson Presidents, a team they have struggled with in the past. 4 wins, 42 losses. That's how Waynesburg has fared against Washington and Jefferson going into Saturday's game. The rivalry, while lopsided in record, still has that same confrontational feeling in the air. The Jackets double circled the game at the end of the year against the Presidents on the calendar, and this one was no different.
They are who we thought they were, really. They're physical, they get after it. They do a lot of things on defense. They try to force mistakes and force turnovers, and I think we did a decent job of moving the ball, and then we just couldn't finish the drives.
I mean, it didn't go the way we wanted it to go, but the main conversations we had about for this game, you guys know what this game is. We just know that we wanted to come out here and give it everything we got, give it a fight.
Things were even more peculiar on offense for Waynesburg, who had to use 3 quarterbacks in the game because of injury. It ended up being Caden Roberts who finished the game not on crutches. He threw for 124 yards and a touchdown in his first action under center.
It didn't surprise me like it might surprise other people. We practice all the time. He practices, he plays well. He's a good athlete, and he's my brother, and every quarterback steps in there, I'm pretty confident in.
That's the game of football. Those injuries happen, and the next guy comes in and he does the job. And that's the mindset. That'll always be the mindset, whether it's the quarterback position or any other position on the field.
Jackets finished with a 1-9 record on the season, but Coach Smithley feels the team established some identity offensively at the end of the season.
I think we have a lot to build off of on offense with our run game, and I think that we threw the ball and we opened some things up because the run was bred for us. We're excited about the guys that we have coming back, and we're confident that we're going to move forward here.
For WCTV Sports, I'm Sam Hixson reporting.
The Waynesburg men's basketball team was in action over the weekend in Meadville at the Greg Richard Classic. The men fell in both games by 20 points, losing to John Carroll Friday night 78-58 and Allegheny 82-62. Sophomore Matt Popak led the scoring on Friday night. He had 16 points on a pair of threes, while newcomer Isaiah Alonzo chipped in 9. Friday was also the debut of new head coach Tim Fusina for the Jackets. On Saturday, senior Brendan Smith led the Jackets with 32 points. Smith went 11 for 16 on the field, including going 7 for 9 at the free throw line. Popek had 13, while Alonzo added 11 in the Saturday night loss. The Jackets will be back in action tonight at home against Fredonia at 7. You can catch all the action on WCYJ-FM as Joe Smeltzer, Jared Weicker, and myself will have the call. The Waynesburg women's basketball team is also in action tonight. The Lady Jays are on the road at Case Western with tip being scheduled for 7 p.m. The women have not played since losing to Hiram last Tuesday to fall to 0-2 in 2019. And now finally, the Waynesburg wrestling team was in action Saturday at home for the Waynesburg Duels. The Jackets defeated Johns Hopkins 32-14, but lost to Messiah 30-16. Waynesburg was down 5-0 to Johns Hopkins early, but was able to string together 4 straight wins, thanks to forfeit victories for Noah Gross, Nickel, and Matt Lascola, while freshmen Jace Guy and Colby Morris were able to get wins at 149 and 157 respectively. It was a different story for the Jackets in the match against Messiah. Waynesburg found itself down 18-0 and was not able to come back. Freshman Rocky McGeary was named the PAC Wrestling Rookie of the Week for his efforts on Saturday. He went 2-0, defeating the 285-pounders from Johns Hopkins and Messiah by identical 13-2 scores. It's the second time already this season that McGeary has been named the Rookie of the Week. McGeary and the Waynesburg wrestling team will be back in action tomorrow night as the Jackets will travel to Division II Shippensburg. I'm Zac Schnegg, and that was your look at Waynesburg sports.
It's a Saturday night. You know what that means. Time to party. Sam is having a good time, watching sports, drinking beer, playing pong. Not a care in the world for Sam. Nobody at the party stopped Sam. They let him walk out the door with his keys, even though he was stumbling, having a hard time to stand up. What happened less than 10 minutes later would change Sam's life forever.
Forecast. Today on Tuesday, we've seen mostly overcast, cloudy weather all day. Not super cold, however, with a high temperature of 45 degrees and a low of only 32 degrees. Tomorrow on Wednesday, you can expect some sun with mostly cloudy skies with a high temperature of 46 degrees and a low of 30 degrees. So it will be slightly colder early in the morning and then again as we go into the evening. On Thursday, we will have mostly cloudy skies with a high of 52 degrees, our highest temperature of the week, accompanied by a low of 48 degrees, being the warmest day of our upcoming week. On Friday, it will be wet and rainy, most likely, as we have a 70% chance of rain with a high of 50 degrees and a low of 31 degrees. Going into the weekend, on Saturday, it should be rainy with a 50% chance of precipitation and a high of 41 degrees with a low of 29 degrees. On Sunday, it will cease raining with a partly cloudy sky and a high of 44 degrees and a low of 31 degrees. Looking ahead to next week, it is supposed to be very rainy all week long, especially on Thanksgiving. So be ready for a soaking wet turkey bowl outside here in Waynesburg.
I'm fairly excited about Turkey Bowl, not just the meal itself. It's a big tradition in my friend group.
Right.
Lachlan, you strike me as more of a Christmas guy compared to a Thanksgiving guy.
I would say that's partly true. I like Christmas when Halloween is over because I like to view Thanksgiving and Christmas as like the same thing. I like to celebrate them both with one motion. So.
I mean, Black Friday's right there, so it's not exactly
it's
the
right,
worst thing.
You know, and you go to the mall, it's just Christmas everywhere. Like you can't avoid it. You just got to own up to it, and just accept the fact that it's the holiday season.
Well, one way you can celebrate is with your WCTV mugs, and what you can do with those is fill that with hot cocoa, apple cider, hot tea, or any of your favorite holiday drinks, or some eggnog, and they're pretty nifty to say the least.
We did get some new nifty stuff from WCTV, and Lachlan, great stuff on that weather. And thank you everybody for tuning into the newscast. We unfortunately won't have one next week, but you can join us again in 2 weeks for our weekly newscast on Channel 14 News. Have a good night, everyone.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.